Okay.
Help you out with that.
I don't need your help.
You got it? You're an independent woman? Okay.
Oh, God.
All right, we made it.
Welcome to the podcast, Single Shouldn't Suck. We found Justin!
Oh my goodness. Hey, good to see you. We should have a
podcast.
We should have a podcast. We should also have somebody following us behind the scenes. The reason we're doing this is we both have a passion for inspiring people and talking about topics that we all deal with.
Yep.
And we're just going to be very raw and real.
Totally. Okay, I hear that you have a matchmaking service. Tell us a little about that.
A matchmaking service.
Yes.
So that's a little play on words, I think. But I do have a Love Fearless organization that you can call it a matchmaking service because I love building community by developing creative outreaches, creating events. And if you like things like that, you're going to attract people who like that as well. And who knows, you might meet people like that.
Okay.
We're going to do some events together.
Yes, we are.
That would be part of my matchmaking service.
You're matching people with purpose.
Yes.
Matching people with an opportunity to give back and serve and love fearlessly.
Yes. Now, do you feel like you could only do that once you find that person you're supposed to be in a relationship with? That's when you have to wait to start living your life, right?
That's what I've been waiting for. So
obviously not. She's just like, hey, the life in front of you right now is so precious. Start living that and loving the life that's right
hey,
in
well,
front of you.
you're spoiling it for everyone. We're gonna, segue into that later.
We can edit that out, I guess. Wow.
No, I love it. That's so great. Okay, so Justin, just so y'all know, this is our first podcast. We are gonna be talking about all things living your best life, learning to love the life right in front of you, and going out and activating your purpose and your calling. And as we kind of throw open this conversation of singleness, obviously the podcast is called Single Shouldn't Suck for a reason, because, I feel like sometimes we get into this conversation and it's just all about, how do I date? How do I find the one? How do I, it's all about how do I meet this other person so that my life can begin? So what we're saying is we're kind of inverting this conversation, saying, hey, that's great. Let's talk about that too. Mm-hmm. Love fearlessly, get out there. But in the present moment, what can we be doing to enjoy our life? Love it. Go to the beach. Go for a little walk.
Look at this view right now.
Go for a little walk. A little gander.
Like I'm walking you right now because
you really are.
She's really tethered right now.
I'm attached.
Hopefully this isn't too too bumpy right now.
It probably is, but that's okay because that's just what we're all about.
That's how it is. We're roughing it right now.
We are roughing it. This is not perfect. Life isn't perfect.
The start of our podcast, we thought, let's just go on a hike. We've never been on this hike before. It seems like more like a boardwalk.
It is.
Right now.
I could be on roller skates, honestly, just cruising, which we should have thought of.
Roller skates?
He said this was a hike. This is a paved cement trail.
Well, maybe we'll go up there and that'll be more of a hike than this. I'm just
can you do some rock climbing?
And this is really not. We'll figure it out. This will be fun.
It's great. But so as we were talking about, this podcast is all about, learning to love the life right in front of you. And which is what we will be talking about today on this journey that we're on.
And it's going to evolve based on the topics that you want to know about. And, honestly, I don't think you wanted this to be a show about a podcast on just singleness. You want it to be on life, whether you're single or not.
Right.
But I think that's a great start because I think being single is a gift, and
a gift you want to exchange sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's very true.
It's the truth. It is. It's true. It's not
the white elephant.
White elephant.
Like
I hate that game.
For Christmas. Yeah.
I always wrap like.
Why? Because your gift is always stolen.
No. Yes, actually, I never get the gift card. I always get the weird toy from the Dollar Tree.
The re-gift, the one that's
right.
That's just.
But that's not God's plan for our future, obviously.
No.
He's not giving us singleness, as like a consolation prize. We often treat it like it's a consolation prize, like I've been praying for the one. I've been, all of these emotions of frustration and this sense of waiting that we feel like there's no resolve in, but there's so much resolve right in front of us if we were to kind of throw it a lot wider and look at the adventure that we could be living, if we were to just say yes to the opportunity.
Yep. I think one of the things that I've been focusing on being single is focusing on the mission that God placed in front of me. Just like when he created man, he didn't just create Eve right then and there. He said, hey, you have a mission, you have a purpose. I want you to take dominion, do those things that are right in front of you first. And then once you start doing that, God will allow a helper to come into your place. And, God created man and women to be together, and you're meant to help each other out and make life enhanced. You don't complete each other. I believe my personal belief is that God makes two complete people, and then he brings them together so that you both choose to live life together and enhance it.
Love it. So good.
Hey, I added something there.
Wow.
You know what?
It's like you enhanced this moment so well.
Let me tell you what can be enhanced. Holding this structure, you can't see it, but my arm, I feel it. It's on fire right now. We could always do something right up here too.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, here we go.
How am I going to get up there with this on?
Okay, here we go.
Here's how we do it. We're going to not take the stairs. We're going to take the road less traveled because we believe it's going to be more fun. I know it's going to be more fun. So I'm actually going to film you. You just worry about getting up there. Okay. I can help you out with that.
I don't need your help.
You got it? You're an independent woman? Okay.
I'm a ninja. Oh, God.
All right,
And welcome to the podcast, Single Shouldn't Suck. We are the lifeguards of your singleness, and we are guarding the confusion that comes into your life.
Well, what's one of the greatest things that, the greatest misconception with being single that you feel like people struggle with today?
I think people struggle with the idea that singleness is defined by looking for someone. I think there's a misconception, especially in Christendom, that being single is this season where you are being prepared for your future husband or wife, which it can be, and it definitely is a time.
It's not the main purpose.
It's not the main purpose. It's not the main course. The main purpose is your personal self-discovery, your relationship and your journey with Jesus, and truly living and indulging in the life and the season that you're in, recognizing that life is full of seasons that we are going to interchange and pass through, and it's going to be tons of transitions. And so not treating singleness like it is like a stepping stone to the next thing. I think that is something that we really struggle with, and learning that it actually can be really good and really fun.
Yeah. You know what I just thought of when you were saying that is wouldn't it suck for the people that are, if that was the process, if that was the purpose of being single, to prepare you for your future mate, which it's not, but that can be part of it. Wouldn't that suck for the person that's meant to be single for the rest of their life? It's like that's almost like, yeah, it sucks for you, but the purpose of being single is to look for somebody, but sorry, you're not meant for anybody.
Well, that sums up this podcast. I'm just kidding. I love all of this. It sounds incredible, but Justin, how do we get to that point where we really are more than just content in our singleness, but we really are learning to love the life in front of us? What does that look like? How do we even make that shift? Because I get so many messages from people saying, I'm really struggling. I want to be in a relationship. I want to find the one. And they feel stuck. So many single people feel stuck, and they're doing all of the things, or they feel like there's no options out in front of them. And maybe they're coming from a variety of backgrounds, like their relationship with God is solid. Their faith is solid. They know who they are. They know what they want. But how do you get unstuck in that season of feeling frustrated and learn how to actually live the adventure in front of you?
I think just try to find out what desires and dreams that God's put in your heart, and write them down. Write them down. And I think God wants you to look at life and enjoy it. I think right in the very beginning, like the 7 days of creation, like God created men and women. God created us to have dominion. And I think he created us to have dominion over the earth, to enjoy it, to not live in fear, to know that, like when I grew up with one of my greatest fears, the fear of sharks, I was like ingrained into thinking that this is the shark's territory. And if I'm out in their territory, I'm prime for being attacked.
Right.
Actually, Hispanic, half Hispanic, yeah. So like a 5. Not a wing, but more like a, yeah.
Have you heard of that?
I'm not sure. Personally. So I think God created us to have dominion over the earth, which means to enjoy it, seek adventure, and know that there will be risks in life, and you have to be willing to take it. Because some of the best stories that you read, some of the best adventures I've taken were very spontaneous, and there was a high level of risk when I had to learn how to do backflips or swim in the water to overcome and test my faith over fear. Those brought breakthrough in my life. So I think if you're kind of complacent or don't know what to do, start thinking of the dreams and desires you have and just start doing them. They may seem scary, but that's where you're going to have to exercise your faith and say, God, help me not live in fear. Let me have a big, bold, crazy, audacious dream that I need to pursue, which could involve finding your future spouse. And I've got some bold, I'm going on and on here. But
no, it's great. It's so good. I love that because it really is that. It's an invitation. I think if you're frustrated and you feel stuck in your singleness, or maybe you're not single, maybe you're married, or maybe you're in another season of life and you feel like you're at a dead end, that feeling is an invitation from God. It really is. It's hard to feel like that because you're like, God, why don't you answer my prayers? Maybe he is answering your prayer in a way that you never imagined for yourself. So why not reimagine with God? Why not dream with God and say, okay, Lord, I don't have XYZ that I've been asking for or praying for, but what I do have is this location or this desire or this person or this community or this church, whatever that is, and then begin to ask yourself, who am I? What do I want in life? What are some dreams that I've been afraid of going after? What are some of my fears? And then begin to allow God to speak to you and move in your life through those situations. And I love that. Yes, you will definitely grow your odds of meeting people that you would totally hit it off with and just build authentic relationships with in those environments and potentially meet your person in that scenario. But it becomes less about the focus of finding that person and more about finding yourself.
I like what you said, being authentic. One thing I'd love to know from you guys is what are some of your dreams and desires that make you really light up inside? Something that makes you feel like, wow, if I could one day be doing this, I would truly be living life to the fullest. What does that look like? I feel like sometimes we bury those unconsciously because we justify it by it having to make money for us. So I want to challenge you guys to think of something that would be an ideal life using your gifts and your talents. And it should have nothing to do with money. It could possibly generate money, but don't let that be a limiting factor in coming up with something that would make you feel like you fully are alive. And it has to, here are the things that I want to challenge you. It has to be benefiting somebody else in some way, at least one person, if not maybe many. And it's got to put a smile on God's face. I want to know what those things are. And if nobody's doing it, even better. So I want to know what kind of answers you come up with. So I can imagine you getting DMs from a lot of guys and not knowing how to deal with that. And maybe you're in the same boat. Maybe you're a guy and you deal with women DMing you, and that's honestly probably not a problem for you. But for women, they get DMs from guys and they're like, I want to help out, but yet I don't feel like it's in my lane. And sometimes there's healthy boundaries you should follow. Yeah. So we actually just talked about this, and what we've decided is, because we're on the same team, we want to be able to encourage people, but not cross, improper boundaries. So you can refer some of those guys to me, and I could, just naturally talk to them in a more direct way than you can, more effective way, I should say.
Yes, because I'm not a guy. I don't know what it's like to go through some of the challenges of being single as a man, and some of the frustrations that you deal with that might not cross over into being a young single girl. But I love everyone that reaches out. I think it's so rad that guys even can relate to my journey or my story and feel like welcome into that space. So I always love connecting and building those connections. But I think that, there really is a space. And I think, especially in Christianity, we can sometimes blur those lines of, emotional connections. And I think that a lot of heartache and confusion is born out of that when really it was unnecessary. If you just put up healthy boundaries and you just say, hey, actually, I'm going to just kind of draw the line here and offer you my guidance on up to this level and let Jesus take it from there or let Justin take it from there, then we wouldn't have so much gray area. single people, especially in the church, struggle with is having these platonic friendships and with guys and girls and gray areas, a lot of gray area there, but not being able to just be completely honest. Like I was just completely honest and transparent with Justin when we first started this. I actually interviewed him before we got into all of this and just really got to see his heart and see how pure it is and how easy it is to just when you have a pure heart, healthy boundaries, and you're able to just be totally honest with that other person, then you don't have to worry about ambiguity. You don't have to worry about leading them on. You won't because you genuinely want the best for them and you genuinely want the best for yourself. And there's no reason why guys and girls can't have those healthy platonic relationships, especially in Christianity, where I feel like there's more issues of confusion happening.
You know what I think is funny? This is the last thing that comes to mind. Is I remember when we first, okay, here, sit down for this. No. All right. So I remember you saying, here's the thing. I think a lot of us can sometimes feel lonely at times, especially if you want to be in a relationship. You're like, man, I'd love to, like for you guys out there, you may be like, man, I'd love to just be on a date right now or be with somebody. There is a healthy part of that. But at the same time, I think God can meet that need through healthy friendships of the opposite sex. I mean, honestly, even though this isn't a relationship, this is like human bonding, you know, and it's healthy. You can have friendships in your life that don't necessarily have to be romantic, but yet there can be good fruit from it.
People would be wondering what our dynamic relationship is like.
Oh, like doing a podcast together.
Doing a podcast together, single girl, single guy. Are they dating? Have they dated? How do they know each other? Why are they doing this? How can they be friends if they're not dating?
How does that even work?
Are they in love? Friends? Is this a real life Hallmark movie? There's so many questions.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to answer those questions right now. So we're both single. We're not in a relationship right now. We're not in a relationship with each other, but we both have a heart to serve God and be able to share the things that we're learning right now, which encourage me to learn on my own even more so. So thank you for that opportunity. We just want to be able to serve you guys, inspire you.
Yes.
And speaking of fruit, one good fruit that can come from this, which is really the only reason I'm doing this. No, I'm kidding. No, you were telling me, you said, Justin, hey, with my audience, you might even find your future spouse on this thing. And the reason I'm saying that is because what if I wasn't open to doing something? Yeah, there we go. What if I wasn't open to doing something that is obviously in alignment with what I feel called to do? And I wasn't open to that because I had these maybe unhealthy boundaries in my head saying, oh, I can't hang out with anybody, you know, the opposite sex unless I'm interested in them in a relationship. So we're just kind of walking through that and showing you how that goes.
It's good. I love it. So good. Just so you guys know, Justin will be on the podcast twice a month and we will be doing a Q&A every time he's on. Send us your DMs, send us your questions.
Well, we can answer them.
We can answer them on the podcast, okay? Okay, so wait, how did we say we're going to end this? What's happening?
Oh, wow.
Okay,
all right, cool, we're back.
It's like a child over here.
I had to like try to prove that point. You over here like, hey, something's in the water. Let's stop right in the middle of a deep conversation.
So, it's important.
That's okay.
It's the real raw. Okay, so we're going for real and raw. Did you just do a push-up? That was very impressive.
That is a wrap for today's episode. What should we title today's episode? Raw and real? On the beach, on a boardwalk trail that wasn't really a hiking trail?
Lifeguard love.
Lifeguard love. Wow, that's like a play on like live, love,
lifeguard.
Well, we hope you enjoyed just today's real and raw conversations, and this will continue to get better and better.
I remembered a cool tagline I thought of to end this with.
What? Let's hear it. This is your opportunity.
Life is too short to not love the one right in front of you. Life is too short to not love this.
That just fell off, almost dropped the camera.
That was beautiful.
All right, we'll see you later. Bye.